thank you for joining me. Anushka here. So today I want to talk about why is happiness and a sense of peace so difficult for so many of us to maintain on a day-to-day level. And it's the same, the kind of other part of the equation is why is emotional release, why is inner child work, why is looking at what's in our past, why is that important for us to do? And the reason I wanted to talk about this was because I've heard, a few people say in my kind of circle and, acquaintances, why can't you just be happy in the moment? What's the point? What's the need to go back or to look for stuff in order to kind of release it? Why can't you just choose to be happy in the moment? And the thing is, it's a really good point. And I think that's fantastic if you can do it. If you have the ability to be at peace and find joy in every single moment as an adult, then that's incredible, amazing, good for you. But the problem is, so many of us say, oh, just be happy. Why can't you just be happy? But how easy is it really in truth for most of us to just be happy? And happiness is a feeling. And to kind of, to say that it's a state that we should be in 24/7 is unrealistic, and it also doesn't really serve our growth. So I don't think that happiness is something we should just, seek to be all the time. I think rather a place of inner strength and inner peace, and allowing, that's more a place where maybe we should strive to be, because it allows us to experience life and yet not get rocked from our core of discernment and knowing, and not allowing the things outside of us to affect us to such an extent. So why, as a result, then, is stuff like inner child work worth doing? Why do some of us look to our pasts? Why is it important to do emotional purging? The reason that, and this is just my belief, and I know there are many that agree with me, but the reason that I see this as being very important is because I see human beings as being like vessels. And when we are children, we are this vessel that is just full of light, and hence the ability to be so in the moment, the ability to find joy in almost anything, the feeling of being uninhibited and having so much freedom and everything being full of wonder. And so as life happens to us, all of us inevitably experience trauma on some level, no matter how small or seemingly small. We will all experience conditioning and at some point be told, no, it's not okay for you to be the way you are. It's not all right for you to behave that way. It's not all right for you to express that thing. And this in turn then, rather than being, what happens is, rather than being this clear vessel that was just, if you imagine this transparent kind of vase that's just full of light, something then comes in and says, no, that thing that you're showing or doing or being, or that part of you is unacceptable. And so it's almost as if one part of it gets frosted up, and kind of filled in a little bit. And then something else happens, another part gets frosted up and filled in because there's another part that's not acceptable to be shown. And suddenly, as life goes on, you've got what started out as this perfectly clear vessel that just transmuted happiness, joy, source energy. Suddenly, parts of it are getting blocked off as it experiences life, as it goes through the process of conditioning. And then we get to adulthood, and suddenly we find that, gosh, maybe, not for all of us, but some of us might find, God, I don't know what true happiness is. I can't remember the last time I felt truly joyful or peaceful or content or marveled at life, and had a sense of inner peace. And so what we're seeking essentially is to almost go back to that pure form, that more that purified form, that childlike form, but obviously with the wisdom that we have as an adult, that sense of being comfortable with ourselves, that sense of being confident, that sense of being bold and brave and not being afraid to show love. You know, we want to return that, but yet retain the wisdom that we have as adults. And so the only way that we can do this is we have to start where it happened. So this means doing things like inner child work. It means doing things like emotional purging, purging fears or negative beliefs that we picked up along the way that started to frost up that glass. And so, you know, one of your issues could be, well, I don't feel worthy. I don't feel worthy. I don't feel good enough. Now, as a child, when you come into this world, you know, as a baby, you come in with an innate sense of knowing you are worthy. And so we have to go back to the source. And we have to, and the beauty of going back to the source is because of the fact that we know when we were kids, when we were babies, we were innocents. At this point, we had done, yes, we can go back to past lives and we can go back to karma, but at this point in this life, we had done nothing that could warrant any abuse, any neglect, anything from anybody. We were just pure bundles of love and joy. So, going back to childhood, to be able to do that inner child work, and for those of us who suffered severe trauma, to be able to go back and see, okay, this is what happened to me, this is where it came from. What happens is we're able to give back that feeling of unworthiness because we were never born with it. Usually it's something that was given to us by our caregivers. Maybe they gave us feelings of unworthiness, maybe they gave us feelings of abandonment. When we go back to looking at ourselves as that child, as that innocent, as an adult, we can now say, hang on a minute, no child deserves that. No child deserves abandonment. No child deserves neglect. No child deserves to be abused. We are able to, with compassion, go and place ourselves as a child in that position of saying, that was not deserving. And as such, we take this package of unworthiness or whatever it is that we were given as a child, and we realize who it came from and we give it back. So say it was our parents, we go, hang on, I was never unworthy, I was not born unworthy. That unworthiness was placed upon me by a parent who themselves didn't feel unworthy. And so by going back, we can trace it and go, hang on a minute, that was never mine to begin with. So we can give it back and then work on loving ourselves back, you know, loving ourselves more, filling up that reservoir that was that kind of I can't find the right word, but you know, filling up that crater in a sense that was left with self-compassion, with self-love. It's about giving essentially the gift back. And I mean, it's a strange thing maybe to call it a gift, but when we work through our feelings of fear, unworthiness or insecurity, we find beneath them great gifts. We get the gift of who we truly are again. And so this is why, to me, it's important to be able to go back, to be able to grieve, to be able to feel whatever anger it is we're holding on to, whatever fear it is we're holding on to give it to its rightful place and realize that it was never ours to begin with. And then to start loving ourselves back into a more wholesome space. One thing that I like to liken it to is if you're carrying, say you've been carrying, I don't know, say 10 bags of shopping, heavy shopping, and I'm speaking on an energetic level because we are energetic beings, right? We have an emotional body and we are energy. And what so many of us who carry childhood wounds don't realize is that we've become acclimatized to them. We become accustomed to them, and it's like being extremely unhealthy. You don't know what it feels like to feel any better, so you just think it's the norm. Same with us on an emotional level. When we're very scarred, we think that this is just the norm. And in a sense, we resign ourselves sometimes to thinking this is how we'll always feel. and we'll take what little bits of good we can get, not knowing that actually we could feel so much better if we were to purge these things we've been carrying. And so, like I said, I liken it to carrying 10 bags of heavy shopping on an energetic level. You've been carrying them all your life to the point where you're just used to them. You don't even see it as heaviness. It's just you. They've become such a part of you. That extra weight, it's just become a part of you. Yeah, okay, life feels like it's a drag, and things don't go your way, and you have fallouts with people all the time, and life is crap, and but that's just life, and that's just the way you feel, but you're used to it. Right. Now, the trouble is then, when we want something more, so say you're trying to manifest things, say you're trying to, I don't know, get a new job, or you're looking for love, but you're in this place of carrying this baggage, this heavy baggage you've been carrying all your life. When you think about it, your hands are already quite full. So much of your energy is being spent simply holding that baggage. So when you go to open up your hand and reach out for more, you're not able to grasp it. That promotion you want never comes, or the right lover never comes, or life never seems to go your way. You're reaching for it, not realizing that your hands are already full because you're spending so much emotional energy carrying all these beliefs, all these wounds that you've had for so long. And so many of us don't realize this. We don't realize that if we were just to drop the bags, the baggage, the wounds we've been carrying, all of a sudden we'd feel so much lighter, and our hands would be free to grab more of the life that we want. And that's how I liken it. And I think, some people don't quite comprehend how much energy it takes to run our old programs. It takes an enormous amount of energy. And, if I am living in fear, if I'm living in unworthiness, if I'm living in the feeling of thinking, that I'm undeserving of love, if I'm living in those states, I have to expend energy to uphold them. They're beliefs that every single day that I wake up, I tune back into, and I use energy reaffirming them with my thoughts, with my actions, with my perspective, with my emotions. Something happens, I view it a certain way, it reaffirms my feeling of unworthiness, and it keeps running, and that takes energy. And sometimes when we find ourselves exhausted and we don't think there's any real reason for it, we can't find a proper reason for it, sometimes it's because we're running so much beneath the surface that isn't true of who we truly are, nor is it who we want to be, but it's all this negative programming that we're running and running and putting so much emotion into, and it leaves us feeling depleted. So if we truly want to find a sense of peace, contentment, even a sense of knowing ourselves, of not being dependent on what others do, what others say, what others think, we have to start releasing these things. When we work through our triggers, when we work through our blocked emotions and we release this heavy baggage that we've been carrying, then we free ourselves up. We heighten our awareness and we free ourselves up to then choose who it is we want to be. We free ourselves up to choose how we want to respond to certain situations, to people. We can actually choose who we want to be once we've released the excess baggage. But until we do that, we often fall short. We are often unable. I mean, if you think of the amount of people who say, I want to change, I want to quit some sort of bad habit, or I want to stop being so temperamental, I want to stop being so snappy. Quite often, they'll say these things, or we will say these things, and then we'll just fall short of them. And then we end up further disappointed in ourselves, thinking, why can't I change? Why can't I get rid of this aspect of myself that I no longer want? And it's because we haven't done the work. We haven't done the release of the blockages. We haven't done the release of the negative self-beliefs that we're still holding. Once we release those, we are free to choose who we want to be. We're free to choose how we want to respond. And we are no longer a victim of our environment. We're no longer just simply reacting to our environment, because we're able to free up so much energy with the heightened awareness to choose who it is we truly want to be. And in that state, something negative can happen, and the way we handle it is completely different, because we're coming from a place of feeling worthy. We're coming from a place of knowing we're powerful and being aware that, hey, I don't have to give my power away to this if I don't want to. I have a choice as to how I view this, and I have a choice as to how I react to this. And that is so much more powerful than being in a state where you are really basically unconscious and you're simply reacting and you think life is happening to you. So that's the benefit, that's the amazing benefit. I mean, not only do we feel lighter and do we stop beating up on ourselves and feeling awful about ourselves, but we're then able to choose who we want to be and how we want to show up in the world, and that in turn affects how our life goes. So yeah, I hope that that made sense. Quite passionate about that one. But yeah, I will be back for more, and share your thoughts, please. And yeah, lovely to talk to all of you. I hope you're all enjoying the wonderful weather up here in the Northern Hemisphere. It's so nice to have summer back again. And for those of you in the middle of winter, I love winter as well. I mean, I love all the seasons, you know, so hopefully you're having some nice snow when you're getting all cozy and all of that good stuff, and having hot chocolate. Take care, guys. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.